This year with the Corona pandemic, obviously, Fargo's not happening, which is usually a key part of wrestling prep. Usually we take that 2-week break when it's the major part of Fargo, let everyone go compete. And then that's usually when we come back, do the final, 3-4 weeks and kind of test what we've been wrestling at Fargo, see what worked, see what didn't work, and apply it. But obviously that's not going to happen this year. And which honestly I think makes wrestling prep even more pivotal to people's wrestling is you're not going to have somewhere to go test the technique you've been working this whole time. People haven't been wrestling as much. If you do go to the online camps, you get to practice your movements, practice your technique, but it's huge to go somewhere and practice it and test it and see what works, see what doesn't. And, without Fargo this year, without being able to go compete against the best guys in the country at the high school level, I think it's really important to go find a camp and go wrestle some of the best kids in the country. And that's why I think these last few weeks of wrestling prep are going to be so important for people because, not a lot of wrestling's been going on. And I think as wrestling starts to pick up in a lot of these states, as they start opening back up, it's key to go find and, search out the best guys in the country. And, the best guys in the country are at wrestling prep every year. So I think coming to wrestling prep, wrestling those kids and seeing what works that you've been drilling in this COVID time is going to be huge.
Well, I can't agree with that more because, now that I think about it, you think how many times, remember Aaron Gandara going to Fargo, maybe when we were up in Northern California, I think he was injured and I think he was a 2-time finalist maybe that year. And he literally got off the plane and came straight to California to work out what worked or didn't work. Carson and Pearson Manville. As soon as they get through with Fargo, Susan puts them on the plane. I think last year they came, they were there for a week. They had to go take care of obligation, got back on a plane, flew back, and was there for the last week. Josh Saunders, 2 summers ago when we were in Fairfax, Virginia, you were there, came back from Fargo, immediately came out to wrestling prep, and that's been historic. I think Mikey Longo, Christian Pagdaleo, Jason Welch wasn't big on Fargo, but I remember him coming after the NCAAs that year. You were there when Steve Bagson was there, and everybody comes back after that. And that's a really great time because these aren't people who are going to camp because they had some emotion and they want to be better, which is of course great. But these are guys who are like, I didn't do exactly as well as I wanted, and this is my answer to that problem. Come back, get in this collaborative environment, see who's around, there's a slim chance if Europe gets off their travel restriction that we'll have some of the UFC fighters out of Utrecht and Amsterdam and us here this summer. But all these people get together because they want to know, and it's funny because sometimes I'll ask people, do you have a question? And they won't, but the kids who've been competing at Fargo, they always have questions. Why didn't this work? Can you take a look at this? How should I be drilling this? How am I going to apply this to folk style? Where does this convert? What does this mean? And I don't think I don't know because I don't go to everybody's camps. I don't really know. But, after having maybe 3,000 kids come to camp in the last too long to count years, I think that's why people come, because you get your questions answered and you're able to work it through and come up with a plan that's going to work again. And we're going to film it and keep it for you and help you learn how to drill it and memorialize it before we go into the preseason. So to me, not having Fargo this year, we're going to have less kids that are injured, because every kid's injured. Everybody gets injured at Fargo. It's a big grind. We're going to have less kids injured. We're going to have fresher minds and probably even more thankfulness, gratitude that there's a place to wrestle. So that just makes for a better camp experience when everybody feels gratitude that they have a place to wrestle, and people are interested in their future, and that we're all working together. So week 3 and week 4 are for sure, for this, my favorite of all.